Hello everyone, welcome back to OpenLine, talking about some of the many challenges veterans face when they return home after deployment, and an organization here that is doing its best to help with some of those challenges. We have Katie Wells with us, founder director of Eagle Forward and At Your Side, and Sonia Meneses here, a veteran. And you were saying as we went to break that you see so many veterans who are falling through the cracks. And Sonia, you had 2 tours. And you were injured, and you came back, and you were at Fort Campbell, right?
Yes, sir.
And kind of take it from there, how you wound up meeting Katie.
I heard that Miss Katie Wells was coming to Fort Campbell to do a speech about Mission Continues. And I was into this major depression. I had fallen into this really deep hole. There was no light at the end of the tunnel for me. I pretty much given up. So I heard that this program was to help veterans, and I figured maybe if I can help them, then I would be able to get out of the house and be a little bit more myself, like slowly but surely, due to my injuries and my disability, I could do something. So I went and asked her. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend her meetings because she was doing PowerPoints, and there was like too many people around, and I couldn't do that. So she called me that night, and I asked her, what can I do volunteer-wise to help with the Mission Continues? What can I do? And she told me, no, what can I do for you? And I was a little bit confused at first because I thought, you know, this is a volunteer thing. I'm trying to volunteer for you. And she's like, no, we volunteer for you. And she's like, so we met at a McDonald's. And, you know, so we met in there, and she told me about the Mission Continues. And I told her how hard it was for me to get out the house and to live, because it was just me. Just finished the divorce thing because, you know, the war either makes a marriage or breaks it, and of course we weren't strong enough to make it. So I told her I didn't see a way out. So the only way out, I told her at that moment, was just really, you know, suicide or something like such.
When you hear that so many soldiers, when you hear the suicide rate, at one point 22 a day that I said, it sounds like you can understand that.
Yes.
And it sounds like, Katie, you can too. There's just so many people that fall through the cracks, that feel this hopeless. And so why has that happened? Why, with so many programs for veterans, are so many falling through the cracks, in your opinion?
I think that's a really good question, and I don't know the answer to it.
I can help with the answer.
Okay, what do you think?
I think it's because when we come back, there's no support system for us. We come back and we're depressed, and we have these crazy nightmares about what happened, and we're going through all this, and families changing, and we have no family support. And the people that do have wives or husbands home, they don't want to really cooperate, I would say, with us. They kind of want us back the same way that we were before we left. And that's not going to happen. You know, we're different. Give us time. And some family members don't want to give you time. And you don't have any support. Like, your command's not going to support you because they're going through the same thing. So you all alone. All you have is your buddy next to you. And you just have to look to left and right, and that's the only people that are going to listen to you because they've been there and done that. And that's all you have to lean on. And sometimes when you feel, now that I've been out and I can look at veterans more, you know, closer, even just active duty, any kind of veteran. And I always tell them, when you feel down and you feel like you don't have anyone, just pick up the phone and call a buddy. And that helps, and it has stopped a lot of suicides. You know, we've talked, a lot of veterans that I've spoke with, a lot of friends, they have not committed just because of that one phone call. You know, it's like, I feel you, I understand. And we've been through that. You know, I've been through the same thing you have, and I understand what you're going through. Just somebody telling them something as simple as that will help them put that weapon down. Or all those medicines the VA gives you, the doctors give you, they'll give you all these medicines to take, and when that soldier feels that low, that veteran is all by himself or herself, what are they going to go for? It's going to be all those medicines, because I don't want to wake up the next morning. And I know that because I did that myself before. Before I met Katie, that was my way out. Would be if I slept, maybe I wouldn't wake up. And then I met Katie at that point of my life. And then Katie pulled me out of that. And that's why I'm here today.
And that's such a great story. Thank you for sharing that story. And I know there's so many people that have experienced the same thing. And before I start talking more to Katie, what could the government do, if anything, to do a better job preventing this from happening so often? Is there, so we have people like Katie, and we have hopefully church groups and volunteer groups and groups of that nature. There's so many programs out there. Is there something that we're not doing?
Yes, I believe the government should, when we come out, and the Army gets us so fast out the Army because we are a problem now. We're no longer a soldier. You know, we consider, oh, now you have a problem because you came back injured or you came back with PTSD. You're no longer good to us. And it just put us to a side. Then we don't see a doctor for a long time. The VA puts us to a side. So here we go, 6 months. We don't have anybody to talk to. We don't have a doctor or a psychiatrist. No one to talk to us at all. So we sit here for 6 months, and all I have is call Katie. You know, and you talk to her and you can cry to her, but Katie never been there. So all Katie can do is just sit there and listen to me cry all night. But what's Katie going to do at the end of the night is just try to make sure I'm okay. She's going to call in the morning and make sure I was, and she did that many nights. But she doesn't know what I went through. And we don't have that medical help. You know, VA takes so long to see you, and like I said, everybody puts you aside. Like, you just, once you come back, it's like you're no longer good for anything. Like, forget about us. We're no longer that soldier, but we are, you know, and we're still fighters. And I think that's the way I want everybody to see us. You know, we're not going to give up. And, you know, we're still the same person that we were. Yeah, we have, you know, problems, but everybody has problems. We just want some help.
And certainly the time to put you aside is not right when you get back.
Right.
If there's ever a moment where you need counseling or human contact, or the sense that you have some community, it's then.
Right. We want to know somebody cares. That's all we need to hear. That's it. We just want somebody to approach us, you know, see somebody and somebody say, we know what you've been through and we want to get you some help. That's all we need to hear. And we don't hear that for a long, long time.
And so you recognize that, is that right? You recognize that, and that's why so tell us what you started again and how that came about. But you saw the need in Sonia and so many others, right?
Right. And what ended up happening is I was supervising her fellowship with the Mission Continues, and going with her to her doctor's appointments was something that just developed out of our friendship. I discovered that she had an upcoming surgery and didn't have anybody to go with her. So I went with her to her surgery, and during that time, I noticed that without even realizing it, I ended up asking the doctor a lot of questions on her behalf, and there were a couple things that were confusing about her surgery, and I backed up the doctor. I said, wait a second. I said, please explain to her what you just said, because that doesn't make sense. So it just kind of happened. I just discovered, wow, this is one veteran and she needs me at her surgery. If this is one veteran, there have to be several other veterans out there who need people to go with them to their doctor's appointments. So I went with her to her appointments and surgeries for 4 years. And then what happened is I approached Fort Campbell about starting this program there, and they allowed me to start it within their Warrior Transition Battalion. So I first trained a group of about 15 wounded soldiers. I developed a training for them, and then they became mentors to go with other wounded soldiers to their doctor's appointments. And then after that, I expanded it, and now people who are just civilians can also get trained to go to doctor's appointments.
And it sounds so simple, but it's obviously clearly so important. Mm-hmm. If we have a family member who is going in for surgery or has a major doctor's appointment, they always say, take someone with you. You're not going to be in a state of mind to ask questions. And these aren't, I mean, that's advice for people that haven't been to war. That's just going in to a doctor's appointment. So that's, and so how many people are doing that now, and how is it sounded like it's really taking off.
Well, right now I've actually been focusing on the resume side, because right now there isn't a tremendous need for going with veterans to appointments. The need right now I've really seen is actually helping veterans with their careers and transitioning out. So I still go to doctor's appointments occasionally, but now I've really been focusing on resumes and helping veterans who are transitioning out. And the reason that the numbers have dropped is right now there are not as many veterans coming back with severe injuries, so that number has greatly dropped. And what's happening now is there's a large number of veterans who are either being medically retired or they're transitioning out and they are looking for work, and most of them have never made a resume before. So that's what I've really been focusing on right now.
Okay, so you started the At Your Side.
Right.
And now you've moved into Eagle Forward.
Right, and through At Your Side, that's when I discovered that there was a need for helping these veterans with getting grants, with getting jobs, and also with resumes.
All right, let's take a call, and then we'll go to break here. Let's go to Dawn. Hello, Dawn.
Yes, sir. I'm a female veteran, and I went through the VA, the fourth floor with the pre-dating program, and I had the same thing. You know, my family didn't understand, so I come here to Tennessee. And the small little town there is no veteran services. They got a small VA center here, but the van only take you once a week, you know. And then going to a hospital and having surgery and having nobody or support system, I think it's a great thing, because, you know, I couldn't come home because I didn't live with nobody. And the person that took me was just like a case manager person, you know. But to have somebody here, I think it's a great program. And I was in the Wounded Warrior Project up there in Clarksville, up on Ontario Way. And I was in the VA houses, the federal houses, and all that. And I don't have a physical challenge. I did. I had my sight gone, but it got fixed. But the PTSD, and like she said, you make an appointment with the VA, it takes forever to get in there.
Right, right.
It's like, you know, people, veterans, it's like they say I got a civilian problem, and I was wondering. I thought it was me. And then when I first come here and I went to the homeless shelter at Father Strippers at the room at the end, they have a barracks there for men veterans, but I was the first female veteran to come in. And it was like I was like the forerunner for female veterans. It's hard to get them because a lot of us become homeless, and it's not that we want to be, it's just that we got problems when we come out. And I think that's great. And if she could give us some numbers to that program up there, and I could get in contact, and, you know, they just have someone to talk to. Because if you call that number, that crisis number, they'll come and get you. You know, sometimes you just need to speak to another vet.
Right. All right, what do you? We'll put out some numbers soon. What do you think of that call? What she had to say?
There's some on the internet. A lot, like there is the number 22. She just goes on the internet. Well, she has access, like the library, anything. There's a lot of support on there, which if you could just go and she types in PTSD and veterans, number 22 will show up. We're actually doing in Clarksville. We're actually doing for the number 22, which is the number of suicide that we're trying to get it lower. And what we're trying to do is speak with another vet. So what we do is we're trying to get a bunch of veterans together and just make sure they're okay, and we just talk to them and things like that, and we try to keep doing that. And if she just gets a point where she can do something, you know, try to get internet, and she just types PTSD, a bunch of programs gonna pop up, and she can just call that number that shows on there, and a veteran will speak with her and get her involved in there with someone, and someone will check on her all the time.
So that's a great program.
Yes.
So that is something that's being done.
Yes, there is a lot of programs on there.
That's really good. Okay, I hope she heard that. We have to take a break, and we will put up some numbers later. If you want to call, there's a number 615-737-PLUS, 615-737-7587. We'll take a break. Be back right after this.